Great to have you join us again. Yes, this is Political Spectrum, reaching you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. And I've been joined on this set to talk about issues as regards zoning within the People's Democratic Party. At some point, there was a kind of consensus that is to come to the South. But to some angles, a lot of persons of the opinion that because the All Progressives Congress have decided to zone their presidential ticket to the South does not mean the People's Democratic Party should do same, because there is no national law or national formula for zoning in the country. Have been joined on set to discuss on this issue by Mr. Udwak Akpanama, a PDP faithful from Ikodobasi. He has served as an aide to Senator Udoma. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Otobas.
All right. Now, zoning. Do you see that bringing conflicts within the People's Democratic Party? It seems they've been struggling with that for a couple of times now.
Well, of course, I don't think zoning as it is will bring conflicts into PDP as it is, because the party, in their wisdom, has set up a committee to look into that. And eventually, the committee, by reports that we had yesterday, had decided to keep the issue of zoning out and allow everybody within the context of the political entity called Nigeria to come in and contest the nomination. I think in a way that is wise enough for PDP. And day before that report came in, was it on Monday or equally yesterday?
Yesterday.
5 aspirants of the party visited our governor here in the state to look for a ground where all of us will agree on picking one candidate. So definitely, with all these approaches, I don't see zoning bringing problem into PDP.
Well, you talk about the governor summoning some stakeholders to see how he can pick one grounds. Talking about one grounds, he's allegedly going to be in that race as well. Now, the governor of Rivers State, Governor Yesum Wike, has already thrown himself into that race as well. And from all indications, those two are close allies and all of that. So how would you agree on which one to support at this point?
Well, of course, that is the work of the party. It is the work of the committee. If there is going to be another committee, a follow-up committee that will now come to take the consensus as a primary assignment. The party hasn't done that for now. What we've heard is that the party has thrown her door open for everybody to come from any angle. As long as you are a Nigerian and of the PDP extraction, you come into contest. But if you want to know who, probably if I were to be a delegate, and who I will vote for, is that what you are asking?
The majority of the delegates we know would come from the north. And there are lots of, there's some aspirants who have already indicated interest who are from the north. And now what is the advantage for people in the south, being considering the fact that the party has thrown the zoning open for all aspirants?
Okay, let me correct one impression. Saying that majority of the delegates will come from the north. That is your belief. And that is what so many people are saying. I want to tell you that is not true. It is just, what should I call it? That fear is unnecessary, though it is real, but that thing is not true.
I like the fact that you've acknowledged it is real.
The fear is real, but that issue, the issue of majority of those people coming from the north is not real. Let us just look at it this way. You have 36 states in Nigeria, and about 70 are from the south, and 19 are from the north. That gives us just about 2 states differences. Then these differences could be taken care of by the politics.
There are core delegates who have mandate public offices, ex-governors who are going to vote statutorily. And the South doesn't have that advantage.
Why? Why are you saying that? As they are going to have maybe 2, 3 ex-governors, the South will have that as well. We will have, so on this basis, we are on equal. We are at par with all of them. The only thing is that we have to get into this race. It is just like football. When you are playing, first and foremost, don't allow yourself to be defeated on the bench before you go into it. I believe that politics will take care of the differences between the South and the North in terms of the number of states and the delegates. that will come into lobbying will take care of that. Horse trading will take care of that. So at the end of the day, who is going to image our president, the flag bearer for PDP, will definitely not be simply because he's from the north or simply because he's from the south. It is going to be the politics of winning this election that is going to throw up that.
Well, at some point, some persons from some quarters within the People's Democratic Party, they're considering coming up with a consensus candidate. And of course, Peter Obi have said that who better than him who to be the consensus candidate of the People's Democratic Party.
And that is what everybody should say. Who is better than me should be the consensus candidate. You have this option, the option of consensus and the option of going to the field for primaries. Consensus, in a way, to me, is better. Why? Because consensus doesn't produce a winner. It doesn't produce a loser. It doesn't make one vanquish and make the other one victorious. A consensus candidate will always give us a consensus, something that we all come to agree on. That is what I'm saying, politics. Take, for example, now, we are going to, if we eventually have a consensus candidate of the PDP, that consensus candidate is not going to come from the north, nor from the south. It's going to be a PDP flag bearer. So,
regardless of being a PDP flag bearer, must have some origin from where he's coming from.
We always bring up this fear that is all together.
It might not be a fear per se, but you're talking about equity, and the Southeast is clamoring for equity.
The South, on the issue of rotation, on the issue of giving the presidential ticket to a particular zone, is on the basis of equity. But on that basis, on that equity, there is the general opinion that it is not on the basis of zoning, north and south, that we are going to have a president. Nigerians are, let me tell you, tired, sick and tired of the issue of rotation. If you ask so many people, if you gather 100 Nigerians, maybe 51 of them will say we are tired of the zoning issue. So if PDP is wise enough to implement that, it was fair for the southern governors or whosoever, even like me, I had agitated for a southern president, for the ticket to be zoned to the south. But probably that may not be the issue. In politics, we are looking for a president that will deliver us from this quagmire, that will pull us from the woods. That is who we are looking for. We are not looking for a southerner nor a northern. I am saying this as a Nigerian, not as a PDP member. If I want to talk as a PDP member or as a southerner, I will now say the ticket should come to the south.
So
but
by that, are you saying that no one from the south has the capacity or the antecedent to take Nigeria out of this quagmire?
A lot. I have. If you make me the president of this country, I will do that. I have. So many others have. So many others. But what I'm saying is that before we look at that person, we have to be dispassionate. We have to close our eyes against north and south, east and west. Okay.
Now that being the case, let's look at the issues of not having the voting strength and comparatively with what is obtainable with the All Progressives Congress. They have decided to zone their presidential ticket to the south. And now for the PDP, is it just to run the opposite because you're the opposition party at the moment? Yes. Is it just to run the opposite by, throwing it open so that it doesn't look like the party is trying to emulate what the other party is doing?
It is not that. It is in the wisdom of PDP. The issue of APC zoning their presidential ticket to the south is just because they are owing the southern part of the country. They are owing Nigerians that. They have just finished a northern presidential run. It is just normal that they cannot throw it open. If they throw it open in their own, we will call them maybe mischief makers. They are treacherous in doing that. But it is not the same thing with PDP. PDP never finished the northern run like APC has finished. So it is just normal that after finishing the northern run, you have to tell the party to take the ticket to the south. But it is not the same thing with the PDP. PDP is out to win the presidency of this country, take Nigerians out of poverty, fight insecurity, shore up the economy, bring this country into one united political body, an economy that the world can reckon on.
Well, the people from the All Progressives Congress, from all indications, feel that Nigeria is in this mess because the People's Democratic Party actually brought Nigeria to this mess in the 16-year reign of PDP administration. Now, you're saying that you're coming. I know that the EOCHA Youth Chairmanship has the Rescue Nigeria mission,
Sure.
but how do you rescue a mess that is allegedly caused by the same set of people?
The same set of people.
Alleged.
As if, allegedly, as if APC has rescued Nigeria. APC has ruled this country for 8 years. PDP ruled for 16 years. So if PDP had caused a mess, measurable mess of, say, 100, and you came in to rescue, and it is true that you've rescued this nation, you would have reduced it by half. The mess that PDP caused. That is the argument. You would have reduced it by half. If our inflation rate was maybe something like 10% as at the time you took over, 16 years of this thing, we have caused that mess that had put our country into 10% of inflation as at the time you took over. In your 8 years, you would have reduced it to 5. That is where you would have told yourself, or tell whosoever is watching you, whosoever is listening to you, that PDP caused this and we have done this. PDP caused this in 8 years and we in 16 years and we have done this in 8 years. How can you convince somebody, an articulate person, somebody like me, that you took over at 167 naira a liter of oil, and now a liter of oil is sold for 200 to 50 naira, and you are telling me that one was caused by PDP? That is all balderdash. How could you have taken over at 100 and something at the exchange rate, and now we are selling at 500, 600 naira? How can you tell me PDP caused that? You only tell that to women who do not know, old wives' tales. That is what you tell people. When you fail, you say your teacher did not teach you well. We used to do that in our old primary school. When you have scored so low in your exam, you get back home and tell your parents your teacher subtracted your mark and added onto another person.
Well, in as much as that might hold for some quarters, you understand that still talking about issues of zoning, Debumai defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress on account of unfair treatment on the Southeast. He's actually running for presidency under the All Progressives Congress. Excuse me. Okay, that being said, do you still think we might see some persons try to defect regardless of the fact that PDP is actually taking them to court at the moment?
Yes, that was the magic of Bonnie. What do you call it? He called everybody and promised them the highest office. That was why he stayed on. And he was eventually driven out of office. You call this on come, I will give
He was not driven out of office. He actually handed over to another consensus.
Okay. He was flagged out of office. He was placarded out of office.
Placarded, you say? But at least he had a chance to hand over.
At the end of his tenure, no matter how much they came to manage the crisis.
Oh, you agree they managed the crisis properly?
Sure, they managed the crisis properly. Eventually, he went out. Those promises that he made, he's going to stay wherever he is to redeem them. Omahi, leaving the PDP for APC, telling us it was because of marginalization. How was Omahi marginalized, if somebody should ask Omahi, when he defected? PDP was not at the center again. The revenue sharing formula was still intact. Whenever he goes to Abuja, or he might have gone to Abuja, or when he went to Abuja, anytime, his revenue will be given unto him. What was it that PDP was controlling so that PDP would have vexed him so much to the point of defecting? He was just lying because he was promised the ticket that he is now running after. He was promised that ticket by Bonnie. That is just what happened. He can't just say PDP marginalized.
Do you have any fact, any evidence that to clarify what you say?
That he was.
That Bonnie actually promised him the ticket.
Because what he said was a lie. Now you say when somebody lies, you have to think of the possible reason why he lied. Yes.
Oh well, at this point, I'm still concerned about defections because from what we see, the People's Democratic Party, they're trying to halt the amount of their party members from defecting to the All Progressives Congress by having them, filing lawsuits in court and all of that. Like presently today, is the ruling for Governor Ben Ayade, who actually also defected from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress. That being the case, Do you see this as legally right? Because there are no such provisions under the Nigerian 1999 constitutions to hold executive members accountable on account of defection, to sack them. Do you think that's a witch hunting by the People's Democratic Party?
It wouldn't have been a witch hunting. By any standard, you can't just call that witch hunting. Who are they?
I'm asking.
No. Okay, if I'm asking, I am answering. It is not. See what is happening. If you look at the history of nations that have developed, let me say politically, socially, the courts does a lot of putting those things together to make that nation better. America is a good example. What we are thinking is this. If you had come to our party and aspire, and we gave you the ticket and took you onto the election, we ran the election with you, we sponsored the election, and at the end of the day, because it was the umbrella that was behind you when you were voted for, and people voted for you. Definitely, it was not only PDP members. Even APC members voted. They voted. Governments, nations are not ruled by individuals. They are ruled by political parties. States are not ruled by individuals. States are ruled by political parties. In Umahi's office, when he assumed office, he took 2 flags into the office and put them behind him. One was the national flag of Nigeria, and the other one was the PDP flag. Now you wanted to cross over. When you cross over, the result of the election, I am just telling you the thinking why we are in court. The result of the election, when it was read, PDP scored the highest. It wasn't Umahi that was announced. PDP scored the highest, followed by probably APC. But now you want to cross over. Nobody stops you from crossing over because there is that freedom of worship. I mean, a freedom of association in the Constitution of Nigeria. You now want to cross over and associate with other people. Nobody stops Umahi from going there. But what we are saying is that you shouldn't go with the mandates of the party. No matter what is the ruling of the court by now, we still want to believe this issue, if not PDP, another party will pressurize it, and the court will see the reason why people should be allowed to cross over, get to other political parties, but drop people's mandates.
But in as much as that is so, don't you think it's rather a wrong approach towards it? Rather than, use inside the section 109 sub 1 of the Constitution, which actually applies to lawmakers only on the governor, why don't we have a constitutional amendment that reflects that in the first place?
And that is what I am saying. That section that applies to only legislators, maybe it was an oversight. Nobody.
Maybe, but
yes, I am coming.
Maybe it's not involved.
Maybe it was an oversight because nobody would have thought that somebody would use some institution's generosity, like if you were abandoned by your mother and you were taken to a motherless baby's home, brought up there, sent to school from there, given food to eat from there, given clothes to wear from there, and the first thing you do will be to now say, I am no more a member of this group again. I am now in somebody else's house. That is embarrassment. You have caused the institution that took you up there. So that is the issue. It is the logic, it is the thinking, it is the reasoning. Why it is not only PDP that will be in court. So many other political parties will go to court to tell people that you have stolen our mandate. You've gone away with that mandate. The number of us that were counted in our favor, you have taken them away. Unless he's going to tell us to go back to the Constitution and tell the Constitution of Nigeria, tell Nigerians that whosoever scores the lowest or lower should be declared the governor of a state, like what APC scored when Umahi contested that election.
Well, at some point, a lot of persons will argue that they actually voted for People's Democratic Party, not because of the party, but because of the person that flagged that flag. And you will understand that even before a person comes or gets a nomination form, like what is playing out now, you see the number of persons that will rally around him, regardless of the party. If the person moves with that same number of persons. So would you say the vote is entirely PDP's at this point?
Sure. I'm very, very sure. The vote is entirely PDP. Umahi did not have a manifesto. Ask him.
So how did he win elections?
He won election on the manifesto of PDP.
So he did not have any proper plan for the people?
The issue is implementation. Like it is.
How did he win nominations in the first place?
Because
without...
he told us that he is going to implement our manifesto better than any other person. That was why we lifted him. That was why we gave him the ticket. That was why we
gave him. He did not win the nominations. He was given.
No. In lobbying, he will come and tell us how you can do these things. When we say, okay, we are going to give people free education.
PDP has a general manifesto for all aspirants. Is that it?
Yes. PDP has. APC has. Omahi doesn't have.
Oh, well, we'll look at that maybe subsequently, perhaps. Maybe you have to come back to prove that. And then Umahi did not have a manifesto for the people of the Ebonyi State.
Umahi didn't have. Even as he didn't have. If he has had, maybe it would have been on the strength of his manifesto that we would have voted him. The people of Ebonyi State would have voted him. But he never had. Even the president of this country doesn't have a special manifesto of his own. The only thing is that in terms of dexterity, when we say we will give people 24 hours electricity, you now come out, I come out, my friend there will come out, all of us will come out and tell our party that 24 hours electricity supply, I can do it better than Otobasi. You see that kind of thing? Otobasi, I will do it better than this person. And at the end of the day, we now judge. And you've been able to convince the people that you do it better than me. They will now say, okay, let us send Otobasi this time. Maybe we'll go and wait, maybe some other time. Or maybe you go and do this other thing. You never had anything. Without PDP, Umahi wouldn't have had a platform. We don't have independent candidate in Nigeria for now.
Well, Mr. Kwanama, let me bring you down to the zoning formula and how it will work for the People's Democratic Party. It is clear now, it's a known fact that the North have the voting strength. And now if PDP must rescue Nigeria, must go achieve the Rescue Nigeria mission by winning elections in 2023, that dynamics you cannot run away from. Now, how would you achieve that? Peradventure, it's the Northern Nigeria that just finished the administration under the All Progressives Congress. And now the PDP wants to win election at all costs and has thrown its zoning open to people from all geopolitical zones. And chances are that a lot of persons feel because of the strength they have, they might pick the ticket again. How do you think that will play out with the generality of the people?
Well, of course, if they do that, if PDP, by their structure or what they have as their plan, should give the ticket to a Northerner, one, the PDP would have taken that as a strategy to win election, not to satisfy North or South. It will be a strategy, a winning strategy. But that I am not saying that is what PDP is going to do. But eventually, if PDP happens to do that, that is going to be a winning strategy. I still want to correct it again. The impression that it is stereotypical. When we say that the northern part of the country has a higher voting strength than the South, I want to tell you that is completely untrue. It is completely, totally untrue. Because if you want to look at the North and the South, now we have 6 geopolitical zones. We have the East, we have the West, we have the Middle Belt, and we have the North. That is divided into Northeast and Northwest. So now, how do you now come to tell somebody that the North, which part of the North are you talking about that has a higher listing that can vote the Northeast, the Southeast and Southwest and South-South out? That is, it is just the unnecessary fear. If we want to take the number of votes in this country, you will see that the part that you call the North is as thickly populated as the South is. In terms of voting strength, the only thing is that most of the time we just overlook it. Lagos has a massive electoral population, just like Kano. Out of that, where again do you think?
Well, we look forward to the People's Democratic Party primaries coming forward soon, and we look forward to also see who flies the flag of the People's Democratic Party.
Thank you very much.
Interesting lookout points there. Thank you very much, Mr. Udwak Akwanama, for coming through on the show.
Thank you very much.
It was nice having you. And well, that is our show for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Otobasi Tom. Let's do this again tomorrow when Political Spectrum returns. Bye for now.